Kris Jenner told Ray J to make the tape dirtier. Not on a phone call, not in a text message. In a room, with executives from one of the largest adult film companies in the world sitting right there at the table. That is what Ray J said, under oath, in a Los Angeles courtroom. And the man who was allegedly in that room, the CEO of Vivid Entertainment, is now being called as a witness. This is not celebrity gossip. This is not a bitter ex making noise on social media. This is a court filing with 4 signatures on it. One of them belongs to Kris Jenner's production company. So let's go through all of it, because this story did not start last week. It started over 20 years ago. And everything that is happening right now in that courtroom is the result of 2 decades of secrets that were never supposed to surface. The year is 2003. Kim Kardashian is 22 years old. She is not yet famous. She is the daughter of the late Robert Kardashian, the attorney who helped defend O.J. Simpson, and she is working as a stylist and personal shopper for Paris Hilton. Nobody outside of Los Angeles knows her name. Ray J is a recording artist and the younger brother of R&B singer Brandy. He has had moderate success in the music industry with his song One Wish. He and Kim are dating. By most accounts, they are in a serious relationship. At some point during their relationship, they film a sex tape. By Ray J's account, they film 3 of them, 2 in Cabo, 1 in Santa Barbara. They break up. Life moves on. The tape sits somewhere. Then 2007 happens. Vivid Entertainment, one of the most well-known adult film distributors in the country, announces they have obtained the tape and plan to release it under the title Kim Kardashian Superstar. Kim immediately files a lawsuit against Vivid, claiming the tape was released without her consent. The lawsuit gets settled quickly. Kim walks away with $5 million. The tape gets released anyway under the settlement terms. And the story that gets told to the world, the story that sticks for the next 15 years, is simple. Ray J leaked the tape. Kim was blindsided. Kris Jenner had nothing to do with it. That story made Kim Kardashian one of the most famous women on the planet, and Ray J has been living with it ever since. For years, Ray J stayed relatively quiet. He gave occasional interviews. He pushed back gently on the narrative, but nothing that broke through. Nothing that changed the story. Then, in 2022, something shifted. Ray J went on television and said directly, Kim and Kris orchestrated the whole thing. He said the leak was not a leak. He said it was a plan. He said Kris Jenner was involved from the beginning. The reaction was predictable. He was dismissed. Tabloids called him bitter. Social media called him an ex who couldn't move on. Kim and Kris said nothing publicly and let the noise die down. But Ray J was not done. What nobody knew at the time was that behind the scenes, conversations were already happening. Legal conversations, settlement conversations, the kind that happen when both sides have something they want buried. In 2023, 4 people sat down and signed a 9-page confidential document. Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Ray J, and Ray J's mother, Sonia Norwood. The document was titled The Confidential Settlement Agreement and Mutual General Release. Ray J was paid $6 million. In exchange, all 4 parties agreed to resolve every past and future claim connected to the sex tape. There was a non-disparagement clause. Nobody could say anything negative about anyone else publicly. There were financial penalties built in for breaking the agreement. And buried in the legal language was a provision that shielded both Disney and Hulu from any liability connected to the tape or the claims surrounding it. Disney owns Hulu. Hulu airs The Kardashians. Think about that for a second. The settlement agreement protecting a streaming platform was signed by the same family whose reality show airs on that platform. That is not a coincidence. That is a clause that was put there on purpose. The deal was done. The chapter was closed. $6 million changed hands. Everyone went home. 1 month later, Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Kanye West, and Kendall Jenner discussed the sex tape on The Kardashians on Hulu. On camera. On the exact show the agreement was designed to protect. Ray J filed a countersuit. Ray J's legal team came in swinging. The countersuit alleged breach of contract. Ray J's position was straightforward. He held up his end of the deal. He took the money. He stayed quiet. And then the people who paid him for that silence turned around and broke the agreement themselves on national television within 30 days of signing it. Kim and Kris had a response ready. Their legal team argued that the episodes of The Kardashians that discussed the tape were filmed before the settlement was finalized. They claimed the timing meant those episodes fell outside the scope of the agreement. Ray J did not accept that. And then Kim and Kris made a move that escalated everything. They filed sworn declarations in Los Angeles Superior Court. Kim's declaration stated directly, Ray J's claim that she had a plan with her mother and others to release a sex tape, defraud the public, and file a fake lawsuit against the porn company to create buzz was a lie. Kris Jenner's declaration went further. She called the allegations absolutely false. She said she did not make her daughter film any sex tape and did not decide what tape to release. And then she said something that has been quoted everywhere since. As a mother, the notion that she orchestrated or produced sex tapes involving her daughter or was in any way involved in the creation or distribution of any sex tapes is not only entirely untrue but deeply offensive and harmful and has haunted her for decades. Ray J watched those declarations get filed. Then he went on camera and said they completely lied about everything. This is the part of the story that changes everything. Ray J does not just claim that Kim and Kris were involved in the tape's release. He claims he can prove it, and his proof is not a text message or a secondhand account. His proof is a room full of people. Ray J says he was physically present in a meeting with Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, and executives from Vivid Entertainment. He says they sat down together and discussed the tapes, all three of them, the two filmed in Cabo and the one filmed in Santa Barbara. And he says that during that meeting, Kris Jenner reviewed the Santa Barbara tape and told them to make it dirtier. That is the allegation sitting in a court filing right now in Los Angeles, not on a blog, not in a podcast clip, in a legal document filed in a courtroom where both sides are under oath. Vivid Entertainment has always maintained publicly that they obtained the tape from a third party and had no direct dealings with Kim or Kris in its creation or distribution. That has been their official position since 2007. Ray J says that position is false, and he says the man who can confirm it is Vivid Entertainment CEO, Steve Hirsch. Hirsch was allegedly in that room. Ray J's lawyer, Howard King, sent a message to the court that was about as direct as legal language gets. If Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner continue to deny that they worked with Vivid Entertainment boss Steve Hirsch to release the tape, King's team is prepared to call Hirsch himself to testify. Read that again. The CEO of the adult film company that released the tape is being positioned as a witness who can confirm that Kris Jenner was in the room, that Kim Kardashian was in the room, that this was not a leak, that this was a negotiation. If Hirsch takes the stand and says what Ray J claims he will say, the sworn declarations that Kim and Kris filed, the ones calling all of this a lie, become a very serious problem, because those declarations were made under oath. And then Ray J's lawyer made one more point, a pointed one, directed specifically at Kim. Kim Kardashian has stated publicly and repeatedly that her goal is to pass the bar exam and become a practicing lawyer. She has been studying for years. She has spoken about it in interviews. It is a central part of her public identity at this stage of her life. Howard King's message was simple. If Kim made false sworn statements in a court filing and that can be proven, her path to becoming a lawyer ends before it begins. Making knowingly false declarations under oath is not something the California State Bar overlooks. That is not a throwaway line. That is a calculated warning designed to put maximum pressure on Kim's team before this goes any further. To understand why this lawsuit has the weight it does, you have to understand what the sex tape actually did for the Kardashian family. Before 2007, Kris Jenner was a manager. She managed her ex-husband Caitlyn Jenner's speaking career and had begun managing her children. She was connected. She was savvy. But she was not yet the most powerful momager in Hollywood. After the tape dropped, everything changed. Keeping Up with the Kardashians launched on E! In October 2007, the same year the tape was released. The show ran for 20 seasons. It made the Kardashian-Jenner family a billion-dollar empire. Kim became one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. Kylie built a cosmetics company valued at nearly $1 billion. Kendall became one of the highest-paid models in the world. Kourtney built a lifestyle brand. Khloe built a denim and fitness empire. All of it traces back to one moment of notoriety in 2007. And Ray J's position, the position he has held for years and is now arguing in court, is that the notoriety was not an accident. He is saying the tape was the product, the release was the strategy, and Kris Jenner was the architect. If that is true, it means the foundation of one of the most successful family brands in entertainment history was built on a deliberate lie that was sold to the public for 20 years. That is what is being argued in a Los Angeles courtroom right now. It is worth being fair about what Kim and Kris have actually put on record. Kim's declaration is clear. She says the tape was not her idea. She says the release was not her plan. She says Ray J's claims are false and that he has spent years pushing a narrative that has caused her real damage, professionally, personally, and in her pursuit of a legal career. She also raised something that does not get discussed enough. She argued in court documents that Ray J simply cannot accept that their relationship ended, that his actions over the years, the public statements, the lawsuit, the constant revisiting of this chapter, are the actions of a man who never moved on. Kris Jenner's declaration echoed that framing. She called Ray J's behavior a years-long pattern of public harassment directed at her daughter. She said he has been publicly terrorizing Kim for years, and that none of his allegations have any basis in fact. Their legal team hired Alex Spiro, one of the most prominent defense attorneys in the country, the same lawyer who has represented Elon Musk and Jay-Z, to handle this case. That is not the legal team you hire if you are not taking this seriously. Both sides have lawyered up at the highest level. Both sides have filed sworn statements, and both sides are now waiting to see if a judge allows Ray J's case to move forward. It is worth stepping back and remembering how this legal fight actually began. Kim and Kris did not get dragged into court. They filed first. In October 2025, Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner filed a defamation lawsuit against Ray J. The lawsuit stemmed from public statements Ray J made during coverage of the Sean Combs criminal trial. During a May 2025 interview, Ray J said, and this is a direct quote, "If you told me the Kardashians were being charged with racketeering, I might believe it." Then in September 2025, on a Twitch livestream, he escalated. He said he was about to drop a federal RICO case on Kris and Kim. He said the feds were coming. Kim and Kris sued him for defamation. Their position was that no federal investigation exists, that Ray J made it up, that his statements damaged their reputations and constituted deliberate lies designed to cause harm. Ray J responded 1 month later with his countersuit, and in that countersuit, he pulled out the 9-page agreement. He pulled out the $6 million payment. He alleged breach of contract. And he started making the claims about the room, the meeting, and Kris Jenner's alleged instructions. What began as Kim and Kris going on offense has turned into a situation where the receipts Ray J brought to court may be more damaging than anything he said on a Twitch stream. As of late March 2026, the case is still active. A ruling on Ray J's dismissal motion is expected in the coming weeks. If the judge allows the countersuit to move forward, the discovery phase begins. That is when both sides are required to hand over documents, communications, and evidence. That is when Steve Hirsch could be formally deposed. That is when internal communications between Kim, Kris, and their team from 2003 onward could become part of the public record. That is when the 9-page agreement, every clause, every signature, every financial term, gets examined by both legal teams in detail. Ray J's mother, Sonia Norwood, has already spoken publicly in support of her son. She went on social media with one question directed at Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian. If they did not collude to release the sex tape, then who did? Nobody from Kim or Kris's camp has answered that question directly. They have called it defamation. They have called it harassment. They have filed sworn declarations calling it a lie. But they have not answered the question. And Ray J's team is betting that Steve Hirsch will. There is something about this story that goes beyond the celebrities involved. For 20 years, the public accepted a version of events that cast one person as a predator and one person as a victim. That framing shaped how Kim Kardashian was perceived, how she was able to rebuild her public image, and ultimately, how she became the figure she is today. Ray J carried the other side of that story for 2 decades. He was the villain in a narrative he says was constructed around him deliberately. Whether or not everything he is claiming in court turns out to be true, and that has not been proven, these are allegations, the case is ongoing. The fact that a 9-page confidential agreement exists, that $6 million changed hands, that both families signed it, And that it was allegedly broken within 30 days tells you something. It tells you that at some point, all the parties involved decided the story needed to be locked down permanently. The question the court is now being asked to answer is why. If the tape was just a leak, if Ray J acted alone, if Kim was a victim, if Kris had nothing to do with it, then why does a $6 million hush agreement with 4 signatures and a Hulu liability clause exist? That is the question Ray J's lawyers are going to keep asking. And right now, nobody on the other side has given a clean answer. If Steve Hirsch testifies, this becomes one of the most significant celebrity legal cases in years. Not because of the salacious details, but because of what it would mean for the story that has been told for 20 years. If Hirsch takes the stand and confirms that Kris Jenner was in that room, that Kim was in that room, that the release of the tape was negotiated, not leaked, then the sworn declarations Kim and Kris filed become evidence of perjury. And if that happens, Kim's legal career is over before it starts. That is the pressure sitting on this case right now. 4 signatures, $6 million, a porn CEO with a front row seat to the whole thing, and a mother who says she was never in that room. The court is going to decide which version of this story is true. And when it does, 20 years of carefully constructed narrative either holds or it doesn't. Subscribe so you're here when that ruling drops. Drop a comment below. Do you believe Ray J? Or do you think this is a man who has never been able to let go of a relationship that ended 2 decades ago? We'll see you in the next one.